Welcome back to the EMT Spot's Blood Pressure Podcast. I'm Samuel Harrison, your host for this deep dive into the world of combination medications for blood pressure.
And I'm Olivia Harper, joining you to break down exactly how these medications work and why they might be a good option for some folks out there.
All right, so let's jump right in. Today we're tackling alpha-beta blockers. You know those meds that pack a 1-2 punch when it comes to managing blood pressure. We've all heard how crucial it is to keep our blood pressure in check for heart health, right? But sometimes lifestyle changes alone aren't enough, and that's where these medications can really make a difference.
Absolutely. The beauty of alpha-beta blockers is their dual action. They combine the blood vessel relaxing effects of alpha blockers with the heart-calming power of beta blockers, all in a single pill. It's like getting two benefits for the price of one, and that translates into better blood pressure control and a reduced risk of serious events like heart attacks and strokes.
Okay, that's fascinating. So imagine this. Your blood vessels are like a highway during rush hour, totally jammed with traffic. Alpha blockers swoop in and widen those lanes, letting everything flow smoothly. Meanwhile, beta blockers act like a calming influence on your heart, telling it to slow down and take it easy.
That's a great analogy. And if you're wondering how this magic happens at a cellular level, think of tiny switches in your body called receptors. Alpha and beta receptors are two types that play a crucial role in blood pressure regulation. When activated, they send signals that can tighten blood vessels or speed up your heart rate.
So these alpha-beta blockers are like sneaky little ninjas that flip those switches off, preventing those constricting and speeding up signals.
Exactly. By blocking those receptors, they stop those signals in their tracks. Now things get really interesting because those receptors come in different subtypes. It's like having various models of the same phone. They all have the same basic function, but some have slightly different features. This is where specific alpha-beta blockers come into play, targeting particular subtypes for a more tailored effect.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Each medication has its own personality, I guess you could say.
Precisely. And understanding these subtle differences is crucial for doctors to select the right medication for each individual. Carvedilol, for example, is a bit of an all-rounder, blocking several subtypes of both alpha and beta receptors. This makes it particularly effective for both high blood pressure and heart failure.
Wow, so carvedilol is like the Swiss Army knife of alpha-beta blockers.
You could say that. Then we have labetalol, another powerhouse medication often used for high blood pressure and even hypertensive emergencies.
Okay, so we've got the heavy hitters. What about some of the other players on this team?
Well, nebivolol stands out because it not only blocks beta receptors, but also boosts nitric oxide production. Think of nitric oxide as a natural relaxant for your blood vessels, encouraging them to widen. So nebivolol delivers a double whammy effect on lowering blood pressure.
Now that's what I call an overachiever.
Indeed. And finally, there's celiprolol, a more specialized alpha-beta blocker, often preferred for specific heart conditions, particularly hypertension.
So we've got our workhorses, our overachievers, and our specialists, quite the diverse team. But let's be real, with any medication comes the potential for side effects. What should folks be aware of when it comes to alpha-beta blockers?
That's a great point, and it's crucial to have this conversation. Some common side effects include low blood pressure, a slower heart rate fatigue, and difficulty sleeping. However, it's important to remember that not everyone experiences these side effects, and the severity can vary greatly from person to person.
So it's not a guarantee you'll experience these side effects, and even if you do, it might be mild.
Exactly. It's all about individual variation and how your body responds to the medication. But here's the key takeaway. Open communication with your doctor is absolutely essential. They can help you weigh the benefits against the potential risks and adjust the dosage to minimize any side effects.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're reaping the benefits without being bogged down by side effects.
Yeah.
Now, I know we've got to keep things moving, but before we do, I want to touch on drug interactions because that can be a big deal, right?
Absolutely. It's like a delicate dance, making sure all the medications you're taking are playing nicely together. Taking multiple blood pressure medications together, especially without your doctor's okay, could lead to a dangerous drop in blood pressure.
So no stacking discounts when it comes to blood pressure meds. Got it.
Right? And it's not just other blood pressure medications. Even over-the-counter pain relievers like ibuprofen, known as NSAIDs, can interfere with how well alpha-beta blockers work.
Wow, so even seemingly harmless meds can throw a wrench in the works. What else should people be cautious about?
Well, combining alpha-beta blockers with a type of antidepressant called MAOIs could cause a dangerous spike in blood pressure, the opposite of what we want. And diabetes medications might also need adjustments if someone is taking alpha beta blockers.
It sounds like a lot to keep track of.
It is, and that's why it's so important to keep your doctor in the loop about all the medications you're taking, even over-the-counter ones.
So open and honest communication with your doctor is key when it comes to managing your medications, especially if you're considering alpha beta blockers.
Absolutely. Your doctor is your best advocate, and they'll work with you to find the right treatment plan for your individual needs.
Well said. But we've got more ground to cover in this deep dive. Stay tuned as we explore more about alpha beta blockers and how they can help you manage your blood pressure effectively. So, we just got done talking about some of those, side effects and all that stuff. But it's, important to remember that living with a heart condition doesn't, you have to sacrifice quality of life.
You're absolutely right. In fact, managing your condition effectively can actually enhance your quality of life. Imagine having more energy, fewer symptoms, and the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're taking proactive steps for your health.
That's the dream, right? To manage your condition and still live your life to the fullest.
Exactly. And medications like alpha beta blockers can be a valuable tool in helping people achieve that balance.
So let's say someone is listening to this and thinking, hey, maybe an alpha beta blocker could be a good option for me. What's the first step they should take?
The best first step is to schedule an appointment with your doctor. They'll assess your individual needs, review your medical history, and determine if an alpha beta blocker is a suitable option for you. They can also discuss any potential risks and benefits and answer any questions you might have.
It all comes back to that personalized approach, right? What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. Everyone is unique, and that's why having that open dialogue with your healthcare provider is so important.
Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground today, but is there anything else you think our listeners should know about alpha beta blockers? Any tips for navigating those doctor's appointments and making informed decisions about their health?
Absolutely. A great way to prepare for that appointment is to jot down any questions or concerns you have beforehand. Sometimes those questions slip your mind when you're in the doctor's office. It can also be helpful to keep a list of all the medications you're currently taking, both prescription and over-the-counter. And be honest and open with your doctor about your lifestyle, any symptoms you're experiencing, and your goals for managing your condition. The more information you provide, the better they can tailor a treatment plan to your specific needs.
Those are great tips. And I think it's worth mentioning that even if you're already taking an alpha beta blocker, it's still important to have regular checkups with your doctor to monitor your progress and make any necessary adjustments to your treatment plan.
Absolutely. Our bodies change over time, our lifestyles evolve, and medications can sometimes need tweaking to ensure they're still working optimally. It's all about that ongoing dialogue and partnership with your healthcare provider.
Speaking of partnerships, I think it's important to remember that managing a heart condition is a team effort. You've got your doctor, your support system, and yourself all working together towards a common goal. It's like a relay race where everyone plays a crucial role in reaching the finish line.
I love that analogy. And building on that, it's important to remember that this is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be good days and bad days. But the key is to stay consistent with your treatment plan, make healthy lifestyle choices, and maintain open communication with your doctor.
That's such an important point. It's about building sustainable habits and having a long-term perspective. And don't forget, you're not alone in this journey. There are countless resources available to support you, including your healthcare team, support groups, and online communities.
Absolutely. Connecting with others who understand what you're going through can be incredibly empowering and provide a sense of community and support.
Now, we've talked a lot about the physical aspects of managing a heart condition, but what about the mental and emotional side of things? I think it's important to acknowledge that living with a health condition can be stressful and sometimes even overwhelming.
You're right, and that's why prioritizing self-care is so important. Taking care of your mental and emotional well-being is just as important as taking care of your physical health. It's all interconnected.
So what are some practical tips for incorporating self-care into a busy life, especially when you're dealing with a health condition?
Start by identifying activities that bring you joy and make time for them, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. It could be reading, listening to music, spending time in nature, or connecting with loved ones. And remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's essential for your overall well-being, including your heart health.
Those are great suggestions. It's about finding those pockets of peace and rejuvenation in your day. And don't underestimate the power of those small moments.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you're feeling overwhelmed or struggling to cope. Therapists, counselors, and support groups can provide valuable tools and strategies for managing stress, anxiety, and depression, which can all impact heart health.
It's all about building that support system and knowing when to reach out for help. And remember, even small changes can make a big difference. So even if you're not ready to make drastic lifestyle changes, focus on incorporating one or two healthy habits into your routine each week. It could be as simple as taking a walk during your lunch break, adding more fruits and vegetables to your meals, or practicing relaxation techniques before bed.
Those are great examples, and celebrate those small victories along the way. Every step you take towards better heart health, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, is a step in the right direction.
Well said. It's about progress, not perfection. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive into alpha-beta blockers, I want to address one more thing that often comes up when discussing heart health. We've talked about medication lifestyle changes and the importance of self-care, but what about the role of genetics? It's a question that often pops up, and for good reason.
It's true that genetics can play a role in your risk for developing heart conditions, including high blood pressure. Some people are simply predisposed to it based on their family history.
So if heart disease runs in your family, does that mean you're destined to develop it too?
Not necessarily. While you can't change your genes, you can definitely influence how they express themselves.
Yeah.
Think of it this way: genes load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger.
That's a powerful analogy.
Oh, yeah.
So even if you have a genetic predisposition to heart disease, healthy lifestyle choices can significantly reduce your risk.
Absolutely. It's about taking control of the factors you can control. Things like maintaining a healthy weight, eating a balanced diet, exercising regularly, managing stress, and avoiding smoking can make a world of difference.
It's empowering to know that we have more control over our health than we sometimes realize.
Exactly. And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about your family history and your individual risk factors, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions about your health. If you're concerned about your genetic predisposition, talk to your doctor. They can help you assess your risk and recommend appropriate screenings or lifestyle modifications.
It's all about being proactive and taking charge of your health journey. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of alpha-beta blockers. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with our listeners.
That's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the EMT-SPOT's Blood Pressure Podcast. I'm Samuel Harrison.
And I'm Olivia Harper.
We hope you found this episode informative and empowering. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the world of blood pressure management. And don't forget to like, comment, and share this episode with anyone who might benefit from it. Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep those hearts healthy.